Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining. We're going to get started in just a couple of minutes. We'll let everyone continue to log on. Great, let's go ahead and get started. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar. This will provide an overview of self-service chatbots on the go for the healthcare industry. Today's program will be presented by Lamia Msadek, Modern Workplace Adoption Specialist, and Kalpana Sivanandan, Customer Success Manager of Withum's advisory team. Before we begin, I have a few notes. Today's materials can be found in the toolbar on the right of your screen. Also, at the bottom of the toolbar, you will see a chat box. Feel free to send us your questions during the program. We will do our best to address them at the end. There will be 4 polling questions throughout the program. To qualify for CPE credit, you must participate in each poll. CPE certificates will be emailed to you within a few weeks. And finally, once the webinar is over, there will be a pop-up asking you to complete a survey of today's webinar. Please take a moment to complete it. It is our way of being able to provide you with the best and most relevant programs possible. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Lamia.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. My name is Lamia Msadek. I am a modern workplace adoption specialist. Here at Withum, we are Microsoft partners. So one of the things that I really focus on is helping our organizations put solutions together that are people-centric, chatbots being one of them, and really helping our clients through adoption journey. So I'm really excited to share with you some of what we've seen, Kalpana, my colleague, and I, as well as some helpful steps to get you to where you want to go with chatbots. So Kalpana, I'll pass it on to you.
Hello, my name is Kalpana Sivanandan. I also take great joy in providing the best value, state-of-the-art technologies out to our clients. We are excited to be here today to present to you the chatbot option and provide you some ideas and options to see how it can help you in your healthcare niche. What's the agenda? What can you expect from today's webinars? We wanted to talk to you about the chatbot and their benefits, how it can improve your work, day-to-day work, how it can make you more productive. with the recent situation that's been happening, we have some trends that we want to share with you. We also want to share with you our real life experiences, how we have implemented these chatbots, and how our customers have benefited by this. All talk and no demo doesn't really help. So we have a cool demo that we want to present to you. We want to just briefly touch on some of the technologies that go behind this chatbot. And of course, there's questions you can ask us.
Okay, we are on
Rachel.
to our first polling question. Has your organization implemented a chatbot solution? Good, about 10 more seconds.
Okay.
All right. And it looks like 58% of you voted no. So it is good to be on this webinar today.
Excellent. And I see that there are some people that don't know what a chatbot is yet, so that you're definitely in the right place. Okay. So what I'm going to do first is essentially provide some background and help level set a little bit here. So one of our favorite quotes is from Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft, from a couple of years ago, that bots are the new apps, that the world you're going to see, that's what the world is going to see in the years to come. And that's definitely where we are now. We've seen that time and time again with a lot of organizations. And one of the main reasons is that there's just technology overload. There's a lot of information in dispersed places, and there's a great need for bots to do a lot of the work, or to just provide the information that employees are looking for. So one of the things that I will share an example is, before chatbots existed, at least in our organization or with clients that we work with, finding information traditionally was on, let's say, an intranet, right, like a site. So people would search or try to locate FAQs and things like that. I don't know about you, Kalpana, but I used to rely heavily on intranets to find information or call people up.
Yes, you know me. I am always calling people. I am
Yeah,
texting people. I am bothering somebody, but I'm polite about it. But I do, feel delicate. I feel guilty sometimes. And sometimes we ask the same question more than once, right? Like after 2 months, you go back and say, how can I find out the leave balance I have, or something like that? Yes.
exactly. And no one really wants to spend a lot of time reading long FAQ web pages, or finding, using search all the time, or finding old links to things, to old policies and things that are outdated, right? So it eventually leads to a roadblock where you're asking for help. So you click on the next, yeah, you're asking for help, and here's where the chatbot can help and kind of alleviate the what I'll say is the minimum level of stress within an organization. And of course, we're going to explore this idea a little bit more. But if you have let's say a knowledge base that already exists, whether that's an FAQ or wiki or anything like that, that can essentially help you get started building out your chatbot, so that you have one true source of information that's a little bit friendlier than just reading web pages, which we're often used to. So now moving on to the next poll, yep, there you go.
Okay, what do you do when you're unable to find the information you need? All right, about 10 more seconds. Okay, I'm gonna close it out, and here are the results. Looks like 74% of you search the internet.
Yep, that's exactly where we spend a lot of our time, and you'll see later on in the demonstration how this solution can fit into your intranets or in other areas that you're using day to day. So talking a little bit more for those that aren't familiar with chatbots, I want to level set. There are essentially a couple of common types of bots. Some that we're familiar with in our maybe day-to-day world, and some that we're not familiar with as much. So from the left-hand side, we keep referencing the word chatbot. That's really what it's meant to be, is a single turn exchange. So you ask a question such as, okay, Google, what's the tallest mountain in the world? And Google responds with an answer, and then the conversation is done, right? It's just you're asking the question, you're getting the answer right away, and that's pretty much it. Then there's more of a conversational agent that's a little bit more engaging to try to understand a nature of a problem. Let's say if you're having an issue with your car's GPS, or you're trying to locate something, and that agent may go and ask a couple of questions to help you get where you need to be. All right, so there may be a longer exchange, and then maybe some troubleshooting, and then that's the agent there. And then lastly, the more robust, and yes, this can be tied to a lot of the trends that we've seen in healthcare, is definitely a personal virtual assistant. And this is really a type of bot that's more human, that remembers you, that maybe sets things, schedules things for you, just like a personal assistant, manages your to-do, etc. So similar to like Cortana and some other ones. But I know, Kalpana, I don't have a big smart home. I don't have a lot of technology, but I know that you do. So do you want to share some examples of?
Yes. Yeah. Well, life scenario, I can say my brother, taking it at a personal level, have first graders and second graders. You have a virtual assistant which kind of talks to them. It's 8 o'clock, time to go to bed. And then it starts reading a story in 5 minutes, because that's more personalized. You can set the bot to you can program the bot to do certain things at a certain time. I need to feed my dog. You set up a 7 o'clock reminder in the morning and evening, so it goes on, right? So you don't forget. More to what Lamia is saying, that's a piece of software that's sitting in an instrument that is just personalized, and you could set reminders. You can talk to it and say, call somebody, like I am sure most of you in this webinar have some form or shape of a virtual assistant that you do use for your personal ones. The chatbot that we are going to talk about is more robust in its own way, is in the sense that your information, the company's information, be it the department information that you want to kind of have the FAQs set up, could actually be used as a virtual assistant for office work as well.
Yeah, that's a great example. As far as some trends that we've seen last year, to no surprise, bots that provide information on COVID-19, whether that's from the CDC, which you'll get to see today. The second is psychological or symptom checker. From the psychological perspective, due to the pandemic, some organizations in certain countries are required to have some mental health checks and provide better well-being for their staff. or a symptom checker to see how you're feeling, and to not necessarily diagnose, but to provide some resources. And then lastly, and the one that we're really going to focus on today is internal support, especially with the pandemic. A lot of organizations are, maybe losing some staff members and don't have the necessary resources available. So that's been a much bigger trend, as Kalpana said, in any department, and essentially within any organization, really. But we will provide examples here today for the healthcare industry.
Yes, and also, Lamia, to piggyback on what you said, people like me who are feeling guilty, who are feeling delicate, keep asking the same questions, whether it be to marketing or HR or anybody for that matter who doesn't want to open a big handbook to see some information, right? Simple questions you see people answering all the time, so that it's not just for the point of downsizing or anything like that. You could also alleviate some of the tasks that we see our team members constantly do to answer these questions. They can we can push that repeated redundant work that happens often to the bot and provide them that time to focus on better things.
Yeah. Yep, so on the left-hand side, we just wanted to show you a graphic. There's a ton of examples of other trends and use cases, of course, in healthcare, such as scheduling appointments, collecting information, providing medical assistance, refilling, etc. So there's a lot of things that you can do with chatbots. There's a couple of examples on the left-hand side. Internally, in terms of the trends for the internal support within organizations, a lot of what we hear that's pretty common themes is, for example, an organization that has maybe high call volumes or email. They want less clutter of their emails, or they want to provide easy access to forms or templates and resources so that people don't have to search, and everyone kind of uses different terminologies and things. So chatbots kind of are, in a sense, better than searching in many ways.
And of course, we did see, right, Lamia, the trend being search the internet. It is going to take time, right, till you find the right answer.
Absolutely. Yep. We did want to share with you all some case studies before we get into the demonstration, which I know that you are all very excited to see. So the first case study, this is very, very recent, a hospital system that we are working with. They actually have over 25,000 employees across different states. And specifically for them, they have a call center and their HR staff that receives hundreds of questions weekly, ranging from COVID vaccination questions to time off requests, so things that are maybe more critical and things that that can just be dealt with, such as using a chatbot or other mechanisms, right? So what ended up happening with this hospital is that essentially, whether you're part of this call center or not, you have to help out and answer like help desk tickets. Or you can be in IT, or you can be in marketing or sales. Everyone is chiming in. So there is a lot of limited resource and staff, and essentially everyone is having to take on a second or third or fourth job. So really, we're working with them to alleviate, as Kalpana said, some of those frequently asked questions, so that their call centers can just focus on the critical needs, and not things that can, those those repeated questions that everyone keeps asking.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's an example. And Kalpana, do you want to provide the second
Sure.
one here?
Yes, this particular case that we have, the second case study, is pretty interesting, and we specifically wanted to showcase this to you to show you how you can leverage this bot, but it is so scalable, and you can quickly work on today's trends. If something has changed in the market today, you can quickly scale this bot to do more than what it was originally designed to do. Lamia and me had worked with a particular senior facility. They have a marketing department of 3 people, but they had to kind of provide their service to about 400 communities in the whole of US, but not just US, UK, and Canada. Basically, these facilities would ask the marketing department for assets, for campaigns, for flyers, website updates. So they were getting about 2,500 emails a month. So every day they would, like kind of segregate a couple hours to take care of these things. And they found out with the reporting that 60 to 70% were just merely questions that could have been easily answered through a website, or the information is there, but people don't take the time to go and search for it, so they're sending out an email. So that's the main purpose of starting that engagement with them. It was for their marketing division, and then March, COVID happened. So everybody panicked. They have a constant, you can imagine senior living facility, right? There's their customers and the caregivers. There's so many questions around COVID that we had to shift gear and have the COVID questions answered from a knowledge bank so that people get their answers right away. And Chatbot came in handy, and I would show you in the demonstration shortly how you can even take something from a valid resource, like Lamia was saying, one source of truth. CDC is a perfect example. They already have FAQs set up, so you're not duplicating the work, but you can kind of download their frequently asked questions into your environment, and you can service your clients through the bot when they have questions.
Yeah, exactly. And overall, our goal is to improve and increase employee satisfaction, and with information being dispersed in so many places, we just want to make it easier and have it all in one place, and make it more personable as much as possible, right?
Yep.
So yeah, with both of these case studies, of course, we propose what we call, a 24/7. It's available 24/7 digital assistant, or the chatbot, and on top of that, which Kalpana can probably talk a little bit more, is you can integrate other systems, and you can link to different resources. We also worked with, for example, the senior living facility to build out some dashboards and approvals, and we bake that into the language for the dashboard, for the chatbot. So it's kind of all comprehensive. It's not just a siloed solution. It's working with other solutions that the organization has.
Yes, awesome. Let's get into the demonstration part of it now. All right. So what you see on the screen is typically a SharePoint site or any website that you already have. could be a best place for your chatbot. There are other platforms this bot can be mounted as well. If you have anything and if you're interested, please throw in some questions there. We'll be happy to answer either now or towards the end. We also have some of our personal information. You can reach out to us if you have any questions. But typically how we do it at Withum Digital is, we are almost for all our clients, we take care of their sites. So it kind of makes us, it gives us an easier way to kind of implement the bot service for them. You see the bot that's right now on the right lower portion of it. We can place this anywhere. You see, it's very typical. Any websites you go, there's, these chatting options. Lamia, can you see this really good? Not, I can make it bigger.
Yeah, this is better. Thank you.
Okay, good. So, you could make it like Lamia was mentioning, more personable, giving your users an introductory welcome message saying what the bot is about. You could say, I am your HR self-service bot. I am your marketing agent. I am here to answer any kind of questions. But, we found with our clients, just not giving users an option when they start, it's kind of distracting in some ways, but it's different for each client, right? If you don't like to see these options, that's okay too. So that leads to the next section where, chatbots, there are different kinds of chatbots. You could have a chatbot that is menu driven. What does that mean? I am just going to have my user keep clicking as I give options to my user. So I come in and I see these 4 options. I can then click on time off, and then it's going to provide me with a couple options, or it's going to provide me with an answer. So that's menu driven. People are just basically clicking through their menu and finding their option. The next one is keyword driven, in which case, you could identify keywords. You could have that set up in your knowledge bank, and then we can provide those keyword options, and your users can go off of that. The third one is what I guess most of us like, is I know what I want to ask. I want to ask it right away. That's where the contextual option comes in, where you basically start typing your question. So if you're asking a question that's not part of what the bot is supposed to do, the bot's going to say, sorry, I don't understand. But if it is something relevant, like for example, if I ask the bot, what's the weather today? It's going to say, sorry, I don't understand, right? Because we have not programmed it to talk about weather. But if you have any particular question about time offs, PTO balance, COVID, employee handbook, it's going to jump in and answer your question. So rather than clicking COVID-19, I know I'm going with contextual version of it. So I'm going to ask the most important question people are having today, something like that. And then my bot is just going to give me the answer. And if you can see, this answer is coming straight from the CDC website. As a company, you do not want to take the time to have your own question bank, a knowledge bank, right? There's people doing this, and it's the source of truth. It's more relevant. It's more up to date. So you basically kind of take that into your environment, and then the bot is here to answer all your questions. The bot can do a lot of things. It can give you hyperlinks like you see right here. It can open up, if it is, if they have to send an email to somebody to get something, it can open up an email template for them, and then they can fill out that email and shoot it to whoever it needs to go. What else can the bot do, Lamia? Am I missing anything?
Oh, you can add images and all those
Yes,
fun
you
things.
can add more. Yes, that's a fun thing, right? You can add images. Something else you could do. I can say I want to know about time off, and then it gives you. What do you mean? If it's kind of vague, you program it in such a way to ask them more questions so that they narrow it down to something more specific, right? What exactly do you have in mind? Do you want to submit something, or do you want to cancel time off? Do you want to see the balance? So on and so forth. And I mean, thinking about the healthcare industry, you could do, if you just type in appointments, we can have the bot say future appointments, past appointments, and then it can then further go in and help you with, you keep asking these questions till you know exactly what they want, and then you provide them with the answer, something like this.
Yep, and speaking of COVID, I know you, Kalpana, mentioned the CDC, but of course, if your organization has certain policies or protocols on getting vaccines and things like that, that can be included in here. So you can still have the CDC information, but you can also have your own COVID-19 policies.
Yep. So the next thing I want to kind of show you is about the knowledge bank that we've been talking right from the beginning. It is a simple, very similar to your FAQs. It's a simple knowledge bank. It's called your Q&A maker. It is part of the cognitive services of Microsoft. And it's a simple way to put in your questions and answers. So if you see right here, this is how you will add a new question right here and say something, what is the weather? And then you can say cold, right? It's as simple as that. And then once you're done with that, you save and train and you publish this knowledge bank. And then you go back to the chatbot and ask it the question. It's going to give you that answer. So saving and training and then publishing is the step. It's as simple as that. As you can see from this, once the bot is deployed, implemented in whichever environment you choose to, moving forward, maintenance is very simple and easy. It's browser based. You can tweak your question and answers based on the current situation and relevancy of topic. The next thing we wanted to show you is how, we've been talking about one source of truth, whether it be, a FAQ that you already have in place, or whether it's something out there on the web that you want to kind of incorporate into your chatbot rather than duplicating and reworking. It's a very simple, come to the spot, add your URL, save and train, and publish. That's all it takes. And when I was talking to you earlier about the senior living, we were building the bot for their marketing department. But when COVID hit us, we were able to quickly leverage that same setup and scale it to include the current situation. So we were able to pull in FAQs from CDC. They started having their own FAQs around coronavirus, right? So we were able to incorporate all those things into this one chatbot that was able to serve a lot of different verticals. Anything you want to add, Lamia?
Yeah, so the intranet is really awesome example to include the chatbot on the lower right-hand corner or wherever you want it. But Teams, Microsoft Teams is another great example. of where you can have the same chatbot, you can have it on the internet, and you can have it in Microsoft Teams as an example. So as you're doing your work and everything, it can all be in one space. So it's as Kalpana said, it's pretty intuitive, and we'll walk through what it will take to get there.
Yes.
Mhm.
You see some of these boxes right here. These are some of the tools or softwares that went behind it. You know, there's a package solution. We can just deploy it quickly. It doesn't, you know, like I said, it's scalable, so you don't have to spend too much time up front, but you could get started pretty quickly, and then you can scale it to however you want it to be. You could start off with just one particular section of your practice, and then you could basically grow that into different sections. It could be one bot that services multiple sections, or you could have multiple bots in different sections. That's, you know, you saw how that knowledge bank was. We could easily have one for patient care, one for insurance. You can have one for scheduling, and so on and so forth based on your industry. Azure Q&A Maker, Lewis, Power Automate is where, you know, the flow really happens, talking back and forth, taking it from the chatbot back to the knowledge bank. You see AdBot, that's a third party you're using framework because it's basically ready to ship. You just install, and it's very user-friendly tool, no code needed to create new bots and so on. Like Lamia was mentioning, you know, your front end could be Microsoft Teams. It could be, you know, websites. You know, we could deploy that wherever you choose your platform to be.
Yep, and those
How
are just the technologies that we, you know, for this demonstration, but there are different options. There's different approaches, of course.
Yeah. How can we do it? Rachel?
Sorry about that. Here is the third polling question. Do you have any FAQs documented in your organization? All right, about 10 more seconds. Okay, I'm going to close it out. And here are the results. Looks like 43% of you voted no, and 39 yes, and 18% I'm not sure.
All right. I mean, that's great. I mean, for the 39% that said yes, it's work that has not gone to waste. We can definitely, as we showed you, we can definitely use your FAQs. We can take that as a starting point, and we can have a bot ready pretty quickly. For the 43% that said no, well, a clean slate is always awesome. We start with categories and keywords, and we can definitely dive into question and answers pretty quickly.
Yep. So we just wanted to list out what it typically takes from almost a planning perspective, from a high level, right? Where do you start and how do you get it out there? The very first thing, just like with most projects, is gathering your needs, your goals, your maybe some KPIs. How much do you want to reduce maybe call times or whatever your use case is, and who can really support this, and you know, maybe some change management aspects of, you know, do we have a sponsor and buy-in? And of course, we'll plug ourselves in here, but consulting with an expert is definitely highly recommended unless you have in-house knowledge and expertise in this area. So where we would help, for example, is help you talk about some of those platform selections, whether you just want to keep it simple, go out of the box, or use some third-party vendors that can get you some more robust features. The biggest thing that that we focused on a lot today is information and language design and architecture. That's bringing in your FAQs or building that knowledge base out, and giving it a little bit more love and adding keywords and different ways of phrasing so that you can kind of account for different ways that people will ask questions. Identifying the type of chatbot, as Kalpana mentioned, some more menu-driven or contextual, the language flow. So those usually take up a little bit more time, including once it's packaged all together. Testing and training is usually, you know, making sure it's good to go, having testers and getting feedback, and then launching feedback and iterating. It's not a one-time thing. You know, you just don't save and publish and it's done. You know, it's ever growing, so you will need someone to manage that. Just a small bonus here. We did talk about just kind of creating a chatbot, but there are some other ones that that exist that are already packaged for different needs. For example, on the left-hand side, there is something called like a Microsoft healthcare bot that helps a little bit with, for example, some symptoms, or I know like Quest Diagnostic or Blue Cross uses it. So feel free to check it out. You can actually test it out. They have a free demo on their website. And then on the right-hand side, Microsoft also has a bunch of bots as well, but one of them is the Microsoft FAQ bot. And this one essentially loops in a human, an actual person, if the bot is unable to help. So today we kind of showed you the simpler of just, you know, just the chatbot interacting with humans, but there are, again, like built-in templates in a way that could be picked up off the shelf. Kalpana, do you have any other examples, or there's plenty out there?
There's plenty out there, like you said, and a lot of softwares are now, you know, publishing bots as well. Your timekeeping system, your scheduling system. There's very specific to those things where you just say, enter 8 hours into my schedule for today or something like that. There's a lot of bots out there that can help you off the shelf. Yes.
Yeah, of course, there has to be a fine balance, because you know, some concerns that I hear from people is I don't want this to harm, you know, and like IT having to support more than they need to. This should be pretty intuitive, or right. So it's it just needs to be well trained so that you can get it to where you want it to be, rather than making it harder or worse for people with all the other things that they have in the organization. So the last poll here, and then we're gonna share a resource and open it up for questions.
Okay. Are you planning to implement a bot? Ten more seconds. Okay, I'm going to close it out. And here are the results. Looks like 93% of you are thinking about it, so that's great.
Right. I also see 4% immediately. Oh, that's awesome too. We have more information in the next 2 slides, and I think the handout is shared with you. We are here to help. We both are very passionate about bots, and we'll make that very quick and seamless for you. The 4% that's in the near future, keep us in mind.
Yes. Absolutely. Yep, and
So,
we just wanted to share
yep.
here a blog that Kalpana and I released in 2019. It's just a little bit more details on understanding bot design, language, and process. So it kind of lists out a little bit of what we spoke about today and some more detailed steps. So feel free to check it out in the PDF in the handout.
Yep. And then please feel free to unmute and ask any questions you may have, or you can throw it in the chat window. We have a couple minutes for that. And then lastly, we have information about us where you can just request 30 minutes with us if you have, for the 4% that's thinking of it in the very near immediate future, we will be happy to help you. The 93% that's thinking about it, how can we help you get there quickly? 2021 seems like a perfect year for all of us to have bots. So that's that's our pitch, right, Lamia?
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Yeah, we're here, and it's not uncommon. You can schedule, 30 minutes with us, and we can talk through your use case and what challenge you're having. I do see a hand up from someone here. Rachel, how would you like to? Should they post in the chat or unmute? How do you want?
Yep, I can. It looks like William Stein. I can unmute. Yeah, it looks like you
maybe
should
we can
be.
unmute all.
You can either unmute yourself and ask your question, or you can post it in the chat box. We'll give a couple minutes, and if there are no questions, you can reach out to Lamia or Kalpana and schedule an invite, a call with them via these links. All right, well, it looks like there aren't too many questions coming in, but again, feel free to reach out to Lamia or Kalpana, and we will be sending out a recording of this session as well as the handout. Thank you everyone for joining, and have a great day.
Thank you all.
Thank you.